there's another thing that I've always personally been very interested in, and that's this. Your BBC men all spoke, and presumably were conditioned to speak, in a sort of educated Southern English voice, which became known as the BBC accent, and was one of the innumerable ways in which the BBC strongly influenced social attitudes. Now, why was it that you wanted them all to speak like that, rather than in some rich regional way, like as you do yourself?
Do I speak very definitely Scots?
Oh, very.
What do you call the stuff that comes down that chimney?
Soot.
All right. The Scot and the Northerner would say soot, as broad as that. I think I say something between the two, but keeping the purity of the vowel, or double vowel. Soot. 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 Now, how do you pronounce, or how do you think people just in the South talking, in the South, educated people, talking ordinarily and rather carelessly, T-Y-R-E, T-A-R, T-O-W-E-R, all become T-A-H. Let me try it. Tower of London, Tower on the road, Tower of the car, and no R. Now, what I tried to get was a style or quality of English which would not be laughed at in any part of the country. I was just vehemently opposed to what variously has been called the Oxford accent or the Southeastern accent, such as the theatre, the far side. Here's more FAHs, you see, they are disappearing, and the vowel becoming indeterminate.
Yes. Yes.
Theatre, far side.
But the interesting point in terms of social history is that this particular accent, which the BBC produced, somehow identified the BBC with a certain section of society, certain social trends, so that to this day the BBC is thought of as the organ of the, as it were, genteel and respectable elements in society.
Anything wrong with that?
Well, except that after all, the people who speak in this standard way are in fact a minority. In the public mind, how people spoke on the BBC was associated with a certain type of middle-class education, a certain type of middle-class life, so that it came to seem an organ.
Came to seem?
Yes.
Came to seem?
Yes.
Who's responsible for that?
Well, I'm not saying anybody's responsible. I'm just saying that it's something that happened as a result of a decision that you took.
But would you have taken anything different? Look, I'm sorry if local dialects are disappearing. I can still talk myself as broad Glasgow as anybody you would hear, you see. But I don't think I should talk that on the wireless. Same with Manchester, south, north, east and west and so forth. Do remember, I'm not criticizing, I'm trying to avoid criticism. And I think that the language, the speech and the pronunciation and all that sort of thing, that the announcers were taught to speak in the early days was the very best thing we could do, in that it didn't particularly irritate one part of the country, or any part.
I see absolutely the point. I see it absolutely clearly. Well, then I suppose television also had come onto your agenda by this time.
Yes, we had been willing to start it for some time, but I was not in favour of going awfully quickly at it, because I hoped that by waiting we would learn a whole lot from America.
Did you see the potentialities of it at that time? Did you see what an enormous thing it was going to become?
I was frightened of it from the start.
Now, why exactly?
There's an admission.
Hmm.
Do you need to ask why not?
But I'd like to know why.
No, you know yourself. And you could describe it better than I. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
Has the introduction of television been to the benefit or the hurt of this country, of the world?
I would find that a terribly difficult thing to answer, particularly for me personally, because most of the great inventions of our time arouse in my mind at best a question mark. But on the other hand, of course, that's a different thing from saying that you could possibly evade them. It was there, it was coming. And now we come to the most extraordinary moment of all, to me at any rate in the story. Here you are, absolutely sitting on top of the world, really.
Me?
Yes, you've created this great organization that's been a great success. You're courted by the great. You're in a position of very great authority, one of the 3 or 4 powerful people in this country. And suddenly, you walk out. It's the most extraordinary part of the whole story.
Have one of these.
All right. Well, help me to listen attentively while you explain.
Look, I thought I had got a good organization, one that would stand up to anything, including war, including the development of television. In other words, I felt I was going to be, to an extent, unemployed, certainly not fully stretched, and I was frightened of that. I was sufficiently young to feel I could do all sorts of other things and that I ought to remain fully stretched. I left the BBC because I thought there was nothing more that I could do there.
Do you think that you were right, that what you did was the right thing to do, or a mistake?
Frightful mistake.
Did you actually just walk out?
My wife came for me, went down the lift from the 3rd floor, and across the hall to the entrance, or in this instance, the exit. And there was standing Plater, the senior commissioner who'd been on duty with the company ever since the company had started. My wife drew back there, went over and shook hands with him. Simple action, too much for me, beat me completely, and I went out of Broadcasting House, tears running down my cheeks.
And then?
Oh, then I suppose we went home. Oh no, I was going to say, I suppose I went home. I didn't. I did the most ridiculous, macabre sort of journey around the countryside with 2 or 3 of the senior people whom I knew best. We had dinner at Droitwich, and after dinner, late dinner it was, very late, we went to the high-power transmitters there. And I, myself, shut down the engines at midnight. And they asked me to sign my name in the book, the visitor's book, and I did, J.C.W. Reith, ex-BBC.